So we're excited tonight. We have Rebecca Carey. She's the founder of Hands of Justice. We've had several of our members bring this organization to our attention, and we understand this organization works with survivors of human trafficking, and that she's been very involved in that work here in the United States in our area. She's local and also has done some work overseas. So we are so pleased that you were able to join us tonight and meet with our mission. This is our mission outreach team of the Woodlands Community Presbyterian Church. We do a lot of work locally. We have, as Louise kind of mentioned, we support a lot of different mission organizations, about 19 in Harris County and Montgomery County, and then several across the US, and then some international. So we have a very giving congregation, and this team is very active and involved in that work. So I'm so glad that you're here to present. We've recorded it so that our other members who can't make it tonight can hear it, and we'll ask a few questions after we hear about the work that you do, and then we'll let you go and not have to stay on for our board meet or our working meeting. But so thank you, Rebecca. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you for having me, by the way. Is there any way that I can share slides with everybody, or no?
Yeah, permission has been given for you to share, so you should be able to share your screen.
Well, I won't keep you guys too long on all of this, but can you see that?
Yes.
All right. Let me just.
Your logo.
Thanks. All right. So again, yes, my name is Rebecca Carey. I'm the founder of Hands of Justice. I am also a survivor of domestic sex trafficking. I normally share that really just to be upfront and honest with people that we are a survivor-led group and organization, and that makes quite the difference to some of the men and women that we work with, and I'll explain a little bit of why that is. We work specifically dealing with economic empowerment for survivors. So anytime after they have left that life or have been rescued, we help with all the restoration of it outside of a residential program. We are not a residential program. We do have a center that we just opened in July of this year. It is located in Conroe, and it's really focused on economic empowerment for these men and women. And I'll explain a little bit of what we do more in depth here. So I don't know, I'm going to play this, but there's been some sound issues. So if you can't hear it, I'll probably turn it off, but let's just see if it'll work. This is our center. Can y'all hear that? Can I hear it?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no sound. Is that what I was hearing? Okay, so we'll just move on. Our Economic Empowerment Center, again, it just opens in July. It is a safe, secure place where the men and women that we work with can come and just do life together. And we do it in different ways. We have survivor-led support groups in the area. I think a couple of years ago, I was looking for support literally for myself, and there was nothing, absolutely no support groups for these men and women that are going through this trauma. And so we decided to create them. All of our, well, I'll talk about that in a minute, but we also have 2 therapists that are on board with us that work out of our center, and they provide EMDR and art therapy, which is accelerated resolution therapy, which is trauma focused for these men and women, which is exactly the therapies that they need. We provide tutoring for GEDs, as well as scholarships for GED testing, as well as certifications or college tuition. We have a Dignity Boutique, which I really wish you could see, but if you're ever in Conroe, just come by the center and I'll show it to you. But it is a big, large room, and it's full of brand new items for these men and women to come in and get if they need them. It has brand new clothes for them, so that if they have like an interview, or if they're starting a job, or if they're starting classes or something and they don't have it, we can provide that for them. I'll give you an example. Last week we had a 16-year-old who was getting ready to start a semester, not a semester, but start school, because she had just been rescued out of her situation, but she literally was rescued with the clothes on her back. So she had absolutely nothing. So we were able to allow her just to come in and shop and feel good about herself and feel good about her first day at her new school. So we have a social enterprise that I'll talk to you about here in a minute. And but first, our scholarship program looks like this. Again, we do provide GEDs testing, as well as certifications and college tuition. So anywhere from $1,500 per semester per survivor, depending on their need. And most of them will start at a Lone Star or something like that. And $1,500 most of the time will cover out not only their tuition, but also their books. So it's a big start for them. We have covered anything from school supplies, laptops, clothing. We have gotten cars for some of these men and women who have needed transportation. Just little things that we take advantage of, or I have in the past taken advantage of, that they don't have. And so it's really just helping them along the way. We partner with Lone Star, with Sam Houston, with University Houston downtown. And what we have done is we've gone in and we have educated their advisors, and they have created what's called like just a special needs kind of group for these men and women so they can get a little bit extra help. If anybody in the room has gone through college, you know how stressful that it can be to enroll and to go through all that process. And for people who have gone through severe trauma, it's almost impossible. So just having somebody there to help them along that, to navigate that system is just, it's been a game changer for some of these men and women. So we do that. Our survivor-led support groups that I just talked about earlier, again, this is the only kind of that we have found in the United States. Every one of our groups is survivor-led, so meaning we allow for survivors to rise up into overcomer leadership positions, and this is one way that they can do that. We have 7 local support groups. Actually, we just added on one yesterday, so we now have 8. And we also have one that is starting for families of these men and women, because oftentimes I think a lot of people just think that trafficking affects the victim, but it does affect the families as well. And then we have a support group for men, which is starting this next Tuesday. I don't think a lot of people realize that human trafficking, about 43% of the trafficking cases in the United States actually involve men as victims. So they need support too. So we provide that. These groups are anywhere, they're either online or they're in person or they're mobile, so or both, meaning that if they can't make it in person, then they can still join us via Zoom. There's a screening process. We don't pretend to be therapists. I think a lot of people think that's what we're doing, but we're not. We're just doing life together with like-minded people that have gone through similar situations. So it's been a really good thing to have these going for these men and women. Excuse me, our social enterprise program is called Reclaimed. We are starting programs where we are teaching these men and women who want to go into businesses for themselves how to do that. Or if they need help with resumes, we help them with the resumes, their job skills, anything that prepares them for the future that they want to have. So we have these classes every Sunday. They come in, they learn what they need to do. We've partnered with the local markets. So there's one in Conroe, there's one in New Caney. I believe we'll be looking at Montgomery and other markets, but would they provide us free booth space? So if these men and women will create a product and they can go out and start a business. It's a small gradual process, but it's something that they can look forward to, even if they just want to do it for fun or make some money on the side, whatever they want to do, but it helps them learn the skills that they need for the future. Our Dignity Boutique, again, it's all brand new stuff. I really wish I could show you a picture on my email one to use Donnie so you can show them, because it's a really cute room. And if there is a girl that comes into our center who's having a bad day, I take her in there immediately. Her whole outlook just changes. So it's more than just clothes and essential items. It's really just a moment where they can feel good about themselves. So. When Silence Ends is our book. This came out in May. This is a book that has over 20 overcomer stories in it from across the United States. We partnered them with local artists from Houston. And so they took their stories, let me show you one, and their stories and decided to depict through art. So at the same time, we took all educational pieces that we could think of, like this is another one. Educational pieces that have to do about trafficking are in this book. So if there's a story about pornography and human trafficking, we talk about pornography and human trafficking on the side. This book has been picked up by Sam Houston to be used in their victim studies programs as well as criminal justice programs. University of Houston downtown is also selling it, and now we're getting them into the books, Barnes and Nobles at all the Lone Stars. So this book is really getting around and being utilized. It's a great educational tool. If you're wanting to buy one of those, you can go onto our website, and I'll give you that information. The one thing that I get asked the most is how can people help or support us? And these are the main things. If you have never been educated about human trafficking, I highly encourage, maybe even as a church, to bring somebody in like myself to do a human trafficking 101. It's about a 2-hour long because we go into depth about it. And then I share my story so people can get an understanding of what it looks like and how it happens. And then after that, you'll start seeing the signs. You'll start recognizing it everywhere. And so then we just ask you to refer those people that might need help to us or to somebody else, that so we give you the knowledge on how to do that. There is an assessment process for these men and women when they come into our center. We do an application process with them and we find out what their basic needs are, and then we help fill those needs. If it's something that we can't do, then we refer them out to somebody who can. So they're gonna get the help regardless, even if we don't do it. You can also join us by volunteering at the center. We do need people to teach classes. We want people to come in and help with the boutique. We want people to do other things that we do or come to events or trainings that we have. You have to go through a 4-hour training in order to volunteer, just so that you are prepared to know what you're dealing with when you come in there. And our next one will be in January of 2023. So it's a couple months and we'll have that. If you're interested in that, I would just log on to our website and we have all of our events on there and you can RSVP. We have a wish list that we have on Amazon that you can find on our website. So for all the things that for the boutique that we need or on that wish list, but also we give out what's called freedom bags. I don't know if any of you have heard of those, but they're little bags. I don't have one in here. I wish I did, but they have essential items. We take about 140 of them a month down into the streets, the brothels, and the strip clubs. We hand them out to men and women that need them. And then we're kind of like building relationships with them as we go. So the wish list kind of covers the items that go in those bags as well. The thing that I hate the most about my job is asking for money. I hate it. I would much rather spend my time out there doing something and helping people, but unfortunately part of nonprofit work is asking for money. So if you are able to give or wanting to help in that way, you can do so by going onto our website again. And then educational purposes and events, if you want to be involved, Hands of Justice has got events happening every month that you can be involved in some way. So those are the ways that you can help support us or buy the book, things like that. Is there any questions? I know I threw all of that at you really, really quickly. So, and then here's my information if any of you need it.
Rebecca?
Yes.
How do these people get information in their hands about your organization? How do they find out about it?
Most of the time they refer to us from other entities, other nonprofits in the area. So in Houston, there's about 40 organizations within Houston. We are the only one north of Houston, or in Montgomery County that I believe, but we are also the only one that deals with economic empowerment. So they know that we have resources for them and they will refer them to us. Because we don't deal with rescue. So like we work with the law enforcement and things like that, and they will send them to us.
And how long have you been around?
We are 6 years old, but our center again just opened in July.
And where's the center located?
It's in Conroe. Yeah, you guys are in the Woodlands, right? Most of you.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, that's my dog. He's huge. So yeah, it's in Conroe, right off the highway. Anybody else?
Yeah. Are your clients mostly native born, or do you have immigrants as well?
We actually do not have, we have one. We have one immigrant that came from Mexico. He was trafficked in a cantina in Houston. So we work with all of them, but the majority of those in the United States that are being trafficked are not actually immigrants. About 98% are US citizens. So I think that's a myth. A lot of people think that it's immigration, and it's not. But and of course, it's a problem there. But again, most of our clients are natives.
And how many people are you talking about that you're helping currently?
Wow. Because of our support groups, because my support groups are nationwide, we are in the hundreds. Yeah. I just referred 3 girls to a residential facility, one in Chicago, one in Texas, and another one in Delaware just last week. So it can go anywhere from we're working with 7 people a week to more. It's a lot. It's a lot more than you guys would think that is happening, but it is very real and very prevalent around here. So yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, Rebecca, I wanted to ask, so you don't actually remove people from their situations. So what's the step from where they are to getting into an environment that you're giving to them?
So
What do they have to go through?
Yeah, so a lot of, okay, if it's a child anywhere under the age of 18 and they are being forced into sex or into labor, they're automatically considered a victim. So people that know about of a child, they get them help. They will normally send them to a residential facility or program. And this goes through law enforcement or CPS or, Child Protective Services, stuff like that. But if you're an adult, and unfortunately the law says, if they aren't willing to leave their situation on their own, then we can't help them. They have to be in a place where they're ready to get help. So a lot of these men and women, when they're being rescued, they're really leaving that situation on their own. They're not like having stings. Of course, there's sting operations out there that are happening where they're physically removing these men and women.
Yeah.
And then they have to go through like the interview process to see if they are an actual victim or if it's something they're doing willingly. And then from there, they get an advocate, and then the advocate will contact somebody like me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
a hard process, yeah. But unfortunately, if they're not ready to leave, they will go back. So
Yeah.
and the average time they go back is like 7 times before they actually leave. So they have to be ready.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else?
Question, how did you become equipped to do this with your logo and your obviously have a lot of skills and your leadership interest and abilities?
Well, I think it was part of my healing journey, to be honest. So about 6 years ago, up until 6 years ago, I had never even heard of the term human trafficking. I was actually sitting in a college class when I first heard that term. It was one of my psych classes, and it dawned on me that that was my story. That was what had happened to me. And honestly, at that time, I spent about a year being very angry that nobody was really doing anything and that millions of people this was happening to. And then after that year, I kind of was like, I don't really have the right to be angry at anybody else for not doing anything because I wasn't out there doing anything either, and I had lived it. So I researched a school. It's the only school that I could find that actually was designed to teach about every concept within human trafficking, and I enrolled. They only accepted 50 in the world, and I was chosen as one of those people. The problem was that it was located in Pattaya, Thailand, which is the #1 city in the world for human trafficking. So I went there for 5 weeks and immersed myself back into that culture and learned everything that I could, and then came home and 3 months later established it.
But you've used your college education skills along with that experience.
Yeah, I went and got I graduated in 2018 with a bachelor's, and I'm actually graduating this December with my master's in victim studies. Yeah.
Great.
I thought it sounds like it.
Yeah, thank you. Worked hard for that, so I'm proud of it. Thank you. Yeah. All right.
Not giving away any personal information, but the person that you mentioned at the start who was getting back into, it was 16, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is that someone, can you give either that person's example or just a generic example? Is that a person who has been taken away from their family, their parents, because they're not an adult, and they're being reunited with parents, or have they been taken out of some kind of bad situation and put in? I'm just curious as to in that age, what's happened to this person, and along with the other questions of how do they get to you guys where you can start to help? What has to happen in a situation like that?
Yeah, so it depends. That particular young lady, she's in a residential facility. There's one here in Plantersville called the Home of Hope, and it deals with little kids. It's one of the only ones in the nation that's still standing because a lot of them are having to close. She is originally from Tennessee, And her family, what this resident, they help restoring that family together, unless the family happens to be the perpetrator, which unfortunately, familiar trafficking is the second largest way that somebody is trafficked, meaning they're being trafficked by a family member. So most of these kids have been trafficked by their family members, so they have been removed from that home on purpose. And then the other ones are just getting restoration, and in the meantime, they will be reunited with their family, but also working with the families behind the scenes so that when they go home, they're prepared to know what they're going to be dealing with, because it's a lifetime journey of healing for these men and women after that. Makes sense?
So like in Texas, the CPS could be involved.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Either getting them out of a bad family situation, or working them back into the right family situation, if that's what.
Correct.
Possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of kids that are in the CPS foster care or runaways are victims of human trafficking. It's just we have a system that needs a lot of work. So even if they're being taken out, hopefully places like Home of Hope are really going to help them find that healing, because again, there's very, very few actual residential treatments for children that have been trafficked. So, heavy stuff, I know. I can see you guys are advisor. It's a lot, but it needs to be talked about, and we need to educate people, and we need to help. So that's just what we're here to do.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us all this great information. As you can hear, we have a lot of questions, a lot of interest. So thanks for
What
your
I
time.
do, so if you ever want me to educate, or if you want to come to one of our educational seminars, it is the first step is to get educated on really what it is. I think there's so many myths out there and either false information or outdated information, that it's really important that you know what you're looking for. So.
That may be a good opportunity for a social justice forum.
I was thinking the same thing, Warren.
Yep.
Me too.
We will be in touch.
Appreciate it. No worries, I'll be more than willing to. So, yeah, well, thank you for having me, and well, just have a great rest of your evening, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
too.
so much, Carrie.
Thank you.
Bye.
You.